Good morning, Patriots. Welcome to the 367th consecutive Friday Assembly of the East Valley Red Friday Patriots. Well, we are definitely elated to have all of you here today as we join to honor America's service members that are currently deployed around the world representing America's interests. You know, in addition to the upcoming 251st birthday of the United States Army, this coming Sunday, June 14, is Flag Day across America. And the holiday commemorates the adoption of the flag of the United States on June 14, 1777, by resolution of the Second Continental Congress. Let's take a brief look at how this particular holiday actually came to be. You know, when the American Revolution broke out in April of 1775, the colonists were not fighting under a single flag. Instead, most of the American regiments participating in the War for Independence against the British fought under their own colony flag. However, in June of 1775, 2 months later, the Second Continental Congress met in Philadelphia to create the Continental Army, a unified colonial fighting force. And this was with the hopes of a more organized battle against the British, the colonial oppressors. This led to the creation of what was essentially the first American flag, then referred to as the Continental Colors or the Grand Union flag. Now, for some of the revolutionaries, this particular flag, the Grand Union flag, which was comprised of 13 red and white alternating stripes and a British Union Jack in the corner, it was just too similar to that of the British flag. In fact, George Washington soon realized that flying a flag that was even remotely close to the British flag was not a great confidence builder for the revolutionary effort. So, old George turned his efforts toward creating a new symbol of freedom for the soon-to-be fledgling nation. And on June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress took a break from writing the Articles of Confederation and passed a resolution stating that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternate red and white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. Well, Old Glory has gone through a number of iterations over the years, but she still proudly waves to this very day. A symbol of hope, a symbol of freedom, a symbol of justice. More than 100 years later, 1916, President Woodrow Wilson marked the anniversary of that decree by officially establishing June 14 as Flag Day. Long shall she wave. You know, I'm confident that most, if not all of you, have some familiarity with or possibly have even witnessed a flag folding ceremony, commonly referred to as the 13 Folds of Glory. It's a solemn and a patriotic tradition performed during military funerals, patriotic observances, and on national holidays to honor a fallen service member and thank them for their faithful service to the nation. The American flag is folded into a triangle representing the hats worn during the Revolutionary War. Each of the 13 folds holds specific symbolic meaning, honoring life, faith, and armed forces and the nation. Key symbolisms include tribute to veterans, mothers, fathers, and national values. And the final fold symbolizes freedom, with the stars on top representing "In God We Trust." The flag is then presented to the next of kin to honor the service member's sacrifice. Now, the exact origin of the 13-fold ceremonial American flag sequence and its accompanying meanings remain a mystery. While some attribute the symbolic script to the Gold Star mothers, others attribute its origin to a United States Air Force chaplain. Regardless of origin, the 13-fold count was originally a practical way to fold the flag. Today, you see in attendance a group of young cadets representing the Apache Junction High School Navy JROTC program, and I cannot express how pleased we are to have these cadets join us for this Red Friday Assembly to celebrate Flag Day. Allow me to update you on a few recent statistics regarding the Apache Junction High School NJROTC program. During the past school year, 2025-2026, there were 86 cadets enrolled in the Apache Junction High School program. 4 of their senior cadets graduated high school this year. Of that 4, 1 of the graduating seniors elected to attend college. That cadet was initially accepted into the Citadel's NJROTC program, but ultimately transferred her scholarship to the University of Arizona NROTC program. The other 3 graduating seniors have already entered military service. 2 enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, and the program's scholarship cadet selected the Marine Corps option through NROTC. You might be interested to learn that a typical week in the Apache Junction High School Navy JROTC consists of both classroom instruction and hands-on leadership development. The training schedule generally consists of the following pattern: Monday, unarmed and armed drill; Tuesday, naval science academics; Wednesday, drill training or guest speaker presentations; Thursday, academic assessments and leadership development; and Friday, physical fitness training. I personally would really enjoy participating in that schedule. That is everything other than the physical fitness training. Lining up with these cadets for PT might prove to be embarrassing for me at my age. Now, beyond the classroom, these cadets maintain a very active community service and ceremonial schedule, and throughout the year, they regularly support color guards, flag folding ceremonies, veterans events, civic ceremonies, Memorial Day flag placement, Wreaths Across America, Mother's Day, and community appreciation events, and numerous school and district functions. It is not uncommon for these cadets to participate in one or more community events each week outside of school hours. And to each of you cadets, we are sincerely grateful for your selfless community service. Allow me to introduce these exceptional cadets. When your name is called, please proceed up to the stage, and then you can rearrange your group as necessary. Cadet Stewart, Cadet Finch, Cadet Barrios, Cadet Lopez, Cadet Klitzo, Cadet Rice, Cadet Lefebvre, Cadet Galvez, and it will be Cadet Galvez who will serve as today's narrator for the ceremony. I also wish to introduce the Apache Junction High School Navy JROTC instructor who accompanied the cadets here this morning. Chief Bradley Callender, U.S. Navy retired, serves as the Naval Science instructor for the Apache Junction High School NJROTC program. Prior to entering education, he served 20 years in the United States Navy and Navy Reserves and 20 years with the Phoenix Police Department, retiring as a detective. Chief Bradley is currently helping lead the development of the district's A3U, Aviation, Aerospace, and Autonomy program, while continuing to mentor and develop student leaders through NJROTC. Additionally, I want to state that to each of these extraordinary mentors within your NJROTC program, you have dedicated your time, effort, energy, and commitment to this program. And we are very, very grateful for that service in helping to develop these young leaders. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Apache Junction High School's Navy JROTC cadets.
Good morning. This 13-fold procedure was common long before the more modern assigned meanings. The source and date of origin of the meanings is unknown, but for those who participate or witness a formal flag folding ceremony, whether it be on Flag Day, Memorial Day, July 4th, Veterans Day, or at a military funeral, the 13 meanings can create an uplifting experience. The first fold of our flag is a symbol of life. The second fold signifies our belief in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and tribute of the veteran departing our ranks, and who gave a portion of his or her life for the defense of our country to attain peace. The fourth fold exemplifies our weaker nature as citizens, trusting in God. It is Him to return for His divine guidance. The fifth fold is an acknowledgement to our country. For in the words of Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is for where our hearts lie. It is with our heart that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is a tribute to our armed forces, for it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all enemies. The eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we might see the light of day and to honor our mother through whom it flies on Mother's Day. The ninth fold is an honor to womanhood, for it has been through their faith, love, loyalty, and devotion that the character of men and women who have made this country great have been molded. The 10th fold is a tribute to Father, for he too has given his sons and daughters for the defense of our country since he or she was first born. The 11th fold, in the eyes of Hebrew citizens, represents the lower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon and glorifies, in their eyes, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12th fold, in the eyes of a Christian citizen, represents an emblem of eternity and glorifies, in their eyes, God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. The last fold, when the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our national motto, "In God we trust."
Ready, please. Forward, march.
We would like to take this opportunity to present you with this certificate of appreciation. And this certificate reads that we welcome your group to the Order of the R.E.D. We hereby laud and commend the Apache Junction High School NJROTC Cadets, class of 2025-2026, for their honorable community service, championing veteran support initiatives, and support of the East Valley Red Friday Patriots, effective this date, June 2026. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you will hold that right there. Now, we would also like to present each of you with a patriotic lapel pin. We are not going to disrupt that beautiful uniform that you're wearing, but I'm sure on your civilian attire, this should be something that would be very appropriate on many occasions, because we welcome you to this patriotic community. Let us go ahead and pass out these Patriot lapel pins. You know, each branch of service has their own battle cry. United States Navy happens to be hoo-yah. Can I have a hoo-yah for these cadets? Hoo-yah! Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please feel free to get some back here and sit down and enjoy the rest of the program. Thank you again, cadets. You know, there are a variety of means of expressing one's patriotism and support for the American Armed Forces. All of you present do so in your own way. One means might be the pen. In other words, authoring patriotic songs, poems, text, and then publishing one's heartfelt expression of gratitude for the men and women who don the cloth of our nation. One such author joined us this morning to share her tribute to America's Armed Forces and our veteran community. Patricia Palmer is the author of numerous published works to include Minutes for Life, The Survivor 8, The Luger, and the publication Pat will present today, I Am an American Soldier, copyright 2015. This publication has been recited numerous times by Pat and others. It's also currently published on the American Legion's national website. Pat earned an associate degree in nursing from Rock Valley College in Rockford, Illinois, and was licensed as a registered nurse in the state of Illinois. She was certified in clinical pastoral education, which is a supervised hands-on training program that teaches spiritual care and chaplaincy to clergy, seminarians, and lay people. She earned a Bachelor of Science degree in church ministries and education from Liberty University. During the period 1979 through 1984, Pat served as a missionary to Taiwan and has worked as a hospital chaplain, the executive director of a pregnancy care center, the executive director of programs for Rockford Rescue Mission in Rockford, Illinois, and she has also served in the counseling and training ministry for Christian Counseling Associates. Pat is no stranger to the armed forces. Her first encounter with the military came from memories of her father, Harold Murphy, returning from World War II in 1945. Her father was a staff sergeant in the United States Army, assigned to the 29th Infantry Division that landed on Omaha Beach on D-Day, June 6, 1944. Her father was later wounded in the Battle of San Lo. The Battle of San Lo was one of the three conflicts immediately following the Normandy invasion. The battle took place between July 7 and July 19 in the San Lo commune of Normandy, France. Pat will share more information about her father today. Furthermore, Pat's husband, Dennis, served as a medic in the United States Air Force stationed at Strategic Air Command Headquarters in Omaha, Nebraska. Here to share her published works, I Am an American Soldier, please welcome Pat Palmer.
Thank you, Dick, for that very kind introduction. I appreciate that so much. I wanted to give a special shout out to my friend Nita Bauer, who put me and Dick together and made this a time available for me. And honestly, it is a great honor. I can't tell you how much it means to me to be able to sit and look out at our vets. In fact, I'm getting teary-eyed already, so I hope I can get through this today. So I've had a lot of people over the years ask me if I served in the armed forces because I know I have a real heart for the military, and it goes back many, many years. And I'm always honored when somebody asks me that question. Until they add, was it World War II or Korea? Ouch. That hurts. The answer is no, I have never served. And I've often wondered myself, where did that passion come from, not having served? And I believe it goes all the way back to my dad. We can have the slide for. So that is my father. He was the first father to be drafted in World War II from Wayne County, Ohio. He served in the 29th ID, and of course they, along with the 1st ID, the big red one, were the ones to land on Omaha Beach on D-Day in 1944. He made it through his longest day, but he was wounded about 10 days later in that battle for St. Lo. And after recovering from his wounds, he spent the rest of the war at division headquarters in France. Amazingly, I can remember when he returned home to Ohio, although I was only 3 years old. I remember this stranger coming into the home and competing for my mother. And I'm sure many families could relate to that. All of a sudden, this strange man was there. And somehow my mother was more interested in him than me for a while. I remember seeing him over several times during a year where he would kind of limp and he looked like he was in pain, and I didn't understand that. And I asked my mom, and she said, well, he was shot during the war. That's all I ever heard. I never knew anything more. And like many men that have been through combat, he really didn't talk about his combat experiences. But it was interesting in 1995 when he was dying from cancer, the doctor did a scan of his body and he was like shocked. And he talked to my dad and he said, what is this that's showing on this x-ray? And it was either a bullet or shrapnel that had been left in from his wound. And I guess back in that time, they didn't always take the bullet out if it wasn't causing a problem. But it did cause him pain and aching over the years. Apparently, they just thought it was, I think even today that's true, that sometimes a bullet is not taken out. And I remember my mom talking about how different he was when he came home from the war. And I didn't understand that. Well, why was he different? Because I didn't know him before. I can remember from the age of 5 going to every single war movie that Hollywood ever put on. And right from that young age, I was really confused about how John Wayne could be a naval captain, a Marine in the Pacific, fly fighter planes, and parachute into France on D-Day. That just didn't make sense to me at all. And then when I later found out he never even served in the military, I was crushed. I just couldn't believe that. So I had to find a new hero, and that was Brigadier General Jimmy Stewart, and he was the real deal. He was the real deal. So after my dad died, I became a little bit of a historian on World War II, especially the European theater of operations. And I later wrote a book about his life called The Luger. And if you can show the next slide. When he died, there were so many unanswered questions because he didn't tell me all the details. And I was very, very interested in it. So with the advent of the internet, and able to get in and get all of his military records, I began this process of studying, learning, more and more fascinated with it. And then I wrote the book, The Luger, which really is, it's fiction. However, it isn't fiction. It's about my dad, excuse me, and it's about his life. I wanted to understand why he was different. I thought maybe in writing a book, it would help me to understand. So all I did was change names and locations and geography and so forth, and I made it about a father and son instead of a father and a daughter. But that's the book that I wrote on that, and that's available at Amazon. And I brought just a few of them with me today if there's anybody interested in getting an autographed copy. If that means anything to you, you certainly can see me afterwards and get a copy of that book. Then the last military man in my life, that good-looking guy right there, He's 17 years old in that picture. And he flew from O'Hare, Chicago down to Lackland Air Force Base for basic training in 1960, 12 hours after we graduated from high school. He was on that airplane leaving 12 hours, so 17 years old. So we married in 1962, and we spent the rest of his enlistment at Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha. And of course, that was SAC headquarters. And he was a medic with the 865th Medical Group attached to SAC. But the real reason that I'm here today really isn't about all of that sharing about my early life. It's because in 2015, I was asked by some folks up in Show Low to write a patriotic piece for 4th of July celebration. And that resulted in this pamphlet that is, I Am an American Soldier. And I brought copies today for everybody here so that you can have some. So when at the appropriate time, the folks will help me to get those out to you. But I would like to read that to you today in honor of all of our servicemen. It's about soldiers in the Army, but it's about anybody that serves our country, and especially those that have been in combat. I am an American soldier. It's mid-December 1777, and the place is called Valley Forge. It's a terrible winter. I have no shoes, and my feet are wrapped in old, dirty rags. I'm exhausted after marching for miles. My feet are frozen, and I've left a trail of bloody footprints. My belly aches from hunger. The winds howl as I sit around a small fire, eating fire cakes made of flour and water. I have dysentery and fear I will not last the winter, but I am an American soldier, and I will survive. It is a hot July summer day at a small village called Gettysburg. I've lost most of my friends, and now Pickett wants us to charge across a large empty field with no cover. I fear a wound much more than death. I could not bear to have an arm or a leg sawed off in a field hospital while I'm awake. There is no glory in war, as I thought there was as I hugged my mother goodbye so long ago. Why must I go? I only know that I wear gray and my enemy wears blue. Yet one day we will wear the same uniform and fight together on a foreign field. I am an American soldier. It is the winter of 1917, somewhere in France. I've lived for weeks in a narrow trench filled with mud and water. I dare not stick my head up to peer across no man's land, and so I wait to hear the shrill sound of a whistle that calls me to leave safety and cross that barren land and to take those few yards of soil. Tomorrow, the enemy will take back that costly soil, crawling through mud mixed with American blood shed a day earlier. I know the feeling of breathing in the terrible mustard gas that burns the skin and lungs as I desperately try to put on my gas mask. All is not quiet on the Western Front. I will fight till the end, and I will prevail. I am an American soldier. It is June 6th, 1944, just as dawn breaks over the English Channel off the coast of France. I have already cast off my breakfast of ham and eggs as the waves and the rough seas roll over the top of my Higgins boat. I am 19 and a buck private. I have not yet fallen in love or tasted the joys of youth, but I will fight and die for those next to me. Yesterday I was a boy, but today I became a man. The ramp is lowered and the sound of machine guns from the enemy tear through the boat. As I jump clear, I'm pulled to the bottom of the sea by my 80 pounds of gear. I remove my pack and equipment and float back to the surface, desperate to breathe fresh air, only to see the bodies of my friends floating in the water, and the sea is red with their blood. Bloody Omaha is not my friend, but I must run toward the danger. By God's grace, I will not die this day, perhaps tomorrow, but not today. I will survive and fight for those who will not see tomorrow. It is for them I will live and fight. I am an American soldier. It is December 1950, and I'm a medic near the Chosin Reservoir in Korea. The politicians call this a police action and not a war, but my brother's blood is just as red no matter what they call it. It is minus 35 degrees Fahrenheit, and we are surrounded by nearly 120,000 Chinese troops. We are only 30,000. My buddies are dying all around me, and calls for medic drowned out all other sounds. I must respond. All of my medical supplies are frozen, and I must put the morphine syringes in my mouth to defrost them before injecting them into soldiers crying from intense pain. The ground is frozen and so are my feet, but I will do my duty and help my friends who need me. They call me Doc. I am an American soldier. It is Hue, Vietnam, January 31st, 1968. Hanoi says it will observe a 7-day truce for the Tet holiday, and maybe we will get a few days break from fighting. They lied. Suddenly, all hell breaks loose all over the country, and 80,000 communist troops attacked everywhere, almost simultaneously. They don't know what a ticked-off 19-year-old Army Ranger can do. They've asked me to see and do what a creature made in the image of God should not have to see or do. Who is the enemy? It could be a 12-year-old girl hiding a grenade, or a 70-year-old man bent over in a rice paddy with an AK-47 next to him. I've been in country for almost a year. How will I ever explain to folks at home what it is like? I will not talk about it, but will push the memories deep into the recesses of my mind and hope and pray they will stay there. They won't. If only the politicians in Washington would let us do what we're trained to do. Don't ask us to fight with rules of engagement, tying one hand behind our backs. I am an American soldier, and I will win if you let me. I am a 30-year-old sergeant and traveling in a caravan of Humvees in Kirkuk, Iraq, 2007. This is my second tour of duty. The first was in Afghanistan and now in Iraq. My truck is moving slowly, cautiously. 1 second, all is well, and the next, an IED explodes right under the vehicle in front of me. I rush to help him. In wars past, all would have been killed, but in this war, with advanced medical care, they will survive. They will go home missing arms and legs with terrible brain injuries. They will walk on a titanium leg and embrace a child with an artificial arm. Some will never leave a wheelchair. They will never be the same. They are heroes and must be honored for all time. They fought well and paid a terrible cost. They are fathers and mothers, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters. They are American soldiers. Today is the day I will die on foreign soil. It is October 22nd, 2015, and I am Staff Sergeant Joshua Wheeler with Special Forces. I have already won 11 Bronze Stars with 4 Valor devices fighting for my country. Today, I will help free 70 Kurdish hostages from imminent torture and death during Operation Inherent Resolve. I am assigned to the 75th Ranger Regiment, Delta Force. My government says this is not a combat mission, but my wife will tell my 4 sons that their dad died a hero during combat in Iraq. I do not think of myself as a hero, just an American soldier doing what he's trained to do. I am the first American to die fighting ISIS terrorists. I rest beneath a hill in Arlington Cemetery, known but to God. My sentinel guards my resting place every second of every day and walks in silent cadence, 21 steps back and forth in winter and summer, fall and spring, rain and snow. I am the unknown, and I represent over 1 million American soldiers who died in combat for their country from its beginning till now. I hold the tears of a grateful nation. Through the centuries, we have asked, who can we send? Who will serve? Our young warriors have gathered for battle. Those called are strong and will not cower. They all love peace, but understand what freedom demands may cost their blood be spilt on foreign land. Through the years, across the land, mothers with tear-filled eyes and trembling hands have placed a golden star in lighted windows, windows that were meant to greet with warmth those home from battle. Those who return ask only that those who rest beneath foreign soil, at the bottom of great seas, and in the hundreds of small town cemeteries across the nation, be remembered as America's best. They have not fought only for flag and country, but for their friends. Greater love has no one than this, that one lay down his life for his friends. They are American soldiers. God bless our troops wherever they're deployed. Thank you.
Patricia, I want to also welcome you to the Order of the Red. As this certificate states, we hereby extol and commend Patricia Palmer for her honorable community service, championing veteran support initiatives, and support of the East Valley Red Friday Patriots. Thank you. And we would also like to take this opportunity to present you with this Red Friday lapel pin. And I know that with all of the engagements that you have, you will find an opportunity to promote Red Friday, let our folks know what this program is all about, and no better way to do it than to have an item that may draw attention for conversation, right?
Absolutely.
Superb. Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We've scheduled some guest speakers to join us throughout most of the months of June and July. So I want to encourage you to join us each Friday wherever possible in order to support these folks that put a lot of effort into planning and preparing for these programs. The Women's Veteran Memorial recently published a letter that was directed to women veterans across America in advance of National Women Veterans Recognition Day, which is commemorated each year on June 12th, today. Allow me to read from that letter. Long before America declared its independence, women were serving and contributing to the cause of freedom. For more than 250 years, through every conflict, every challenge, and every chapter of our nation's history, women have answered the call to serve. On National Women's Veterans Recognition Day, June 12th, we pause to honor and thank the generations of women who have worn our nation's uniform and strengthened America through their service and sacrifice. To every woman veteran, thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for the barriers you have broke, the paths you have forged, and the example you continue to set for future generations. You helped shape our nation, strengthen our armed forces, and safeguard the freedoms we cherish today. As America commemorates its 250th anniversary, it is fitting that we celebrate the extraordinary women who have been part of our nation's story from the very beginning. Their service is woven into the fabric of America itself. Also, I want to take this opportunity. You know, some of you may be familiar with Imprints of Honor program. It's a program that connects students such as cadets that you see here with veterans to honor America's veterans, preserve America's heritage, and develop future leaders. Imprints provide students with the opportunity to meet with veterans who share their stories, their life experiences, and the resulting lessons that the veterans wish to impart to the next generation. Those veteran stories are then carefully written by the students, and then they're published in a hardshell book, hardbound book. This is a copy of that book, and it has countless numbers of veterans' stories. This particular publication was released this year, 2026. It is the Arizona edition, which highlights the stories exclusively of Arizona veterans. We have several of our R.E.D members whose stories were published in this particular edition. And it just so happens that the Apache Junction High School Navy JROTC cadets were responsible for interviewing many of the Arizona veterans whose stories have been published in this text. We plan to schedule a presentation on imprints of honor and discuss all of the phenomenal efforts that are required to bring these publications of veteran stories to publication, to fruition. To the cadets that are here this morning, their instructor, and the entire Apache Junction High School NJROTC program cadets, thank you for your individual contribution to the Imprints of Honor program. To our first-time guests, thank you for joining us today. We sincerely hope that you'll return to share in our camaraderie and the support of our mission. And please know that you're always welcome to our Red Friday assemblies. As a final reminder, let us not overlook the importance of this Red Friday mission to keep our deployed warfighters in our thoughts and prayers and continue to demonstrate our support for these fine men and women. Please, please keep in mind that it is patriotism that unites us. Enjoy your weekend.